New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hello. Welcome to Rockin the Love. I am Robin Rice Olmsted.
And I am Gil William Olmsted. And we are with you every Wednesday afternoon, and we're excited to be back today. We have a fun guest with us today and a fun show for you. So we're glad you're here too. So make sure you comment, let us know you're with us, tell us where you're from, and ask questions. And tell us what you think. All right.
That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of stuff. This is not a free-for-all show. You have to work at it.
You got to work with us. All right. Well, here we are, January 14th.
Yeah. 2026.
2026.
Who knew? Who knew?
This is one of my oldest friends' birthdays, somebody I've known since kindergarten.
Wow.
Happy birthday, Leslie. Anyway, so today we are talking about the energetic flow of oneness.
The energetic flow of oneness.
Yes. You may wonder why I came up with that title.
I do.
Well, because based on the topic that we're going to be talking about, which is basically metaphysics and science of mind and all those good things, how they come together, I assumed oneness, right? However, the energetic flow was the title of the show that Dr. Sherry was on with us like 2 years ago. It was the energetic flow of something.
Okay.
So I took the something out and I thought she's the energetic flow queen. That's
right.
That's who she is, because she kind of is, right?
We're bringing the energy back.
But isn't she kind of the energetic flow queen? I mean, whenever you see Sherry Gurr, you can't help but smile, right?
Yes, that is very true.
It's like that energy flows and you just feel her presence in you.
I still remember sitting down very early on at East Bay and having Sherry come sit next to me and say nice things to me when it wasn't sure anybody wanted to say any nice things to me yet.
Wow, and she's still
talking to me. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I remember too standing outside with Dr. Sherry and two other people in the parking lot when you were having some meeting, and you making them all laugh with some come to Jesus comments, and she just rolled and laughed. Anyway, she is a good, energetic person to be around, and so we're excited that we're going to share her with you today. So, here we are, second week of the year. Generally we talk about how we're doing during it, and so let's try.
How is the week? The week has been a lot more than, I don't know, it was sort of that re-entry week because we got back to town. Wait, am I off? Am I off by a week?
You're off, definitely. And yes, by a week you are off.
Well, anyway, it feels like we just got back into town. But, it's sort of been from last Sunday to this, it's just been crazy the whole time.
Well, I think this is really a re-entry week period for everybody, because whether you were here or there, you kind of come down off the holidays, and this is kind of when it really gets back in sync.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's kind of all that stuff that is kind of hanging there that got delayed over the holiday, and so it feels like there's more stuff to do. And I think basically just because we're out of practice, we're not doing it as efficiently. So takes a minute.
Yeah, there's some of that. I don't know about out of practice. I mean, I just don't want to.
Well, there's that.
I just don't want to. I mean, but along with that, it's really a time of deciding what's really mine to do, and somehow, for whatever reason, at the beginning of the year, we can pretend that we're going to let go of things and adopt new habits. So that's what I'm doing.
You're pretending.
Yep. And I may pretend all year. Who knows?
Oh, man. All right.
So,
all right.
I think it's time for the good news. This is our segment where we talk about what's good in the world.
Which, by the way, there are some things to report. I realize that this last week in particular has felt like a really tough week in many ways. And so much going on with the blackout from Iran and the killing in Minnesota, and it's just so
Renee Nicole Good,
and just how frustrating all of it is, and how sad it is, and yet
and how scary it all is.
Yeah, and yet good continues to not only happen, but it's visible, and it reminds us that all of it somehow, somewhere, some way, eventually is good. So, okay, so my good news story of the day is about, and this is what we need around the White House, I think, a predator-proof fence so that the predators can't get out. We need a predator-proof fence. So in Australia, on Kangaroo Island, which is one of a few islands that Australia has as part of the country, they had a big fire in 2020, I guess it was, and after the fire, they realized that the small animals that were already very vulnerable were like totally vulnerable because they didn't have any cover or anything, any place to hide. And the issue is they have a lot of feral cats. Now, I'm not sure how they got all the feral cats out of this area. I didn't see that. But what they did was they fenced around the fire zone, and the endangered species are coming back at an incredibly high rate. And, to me, it's about our ingenuity and people's willingness to do things. But the fascinating part to me is the reality is that our world and everything in it is way more resilient than we think. I mean, the stories from around Mount St. Helens and the stuff that's come back over the years and how quickly things have come back and all of those kinds of things, the thought is, oh my God, everything's gone. But, there's a couple little animals, and pretty soon you have the whole place running around with animals if you help keep them a little safe. So anyway, I thought it was a great thing that the people took the effort, and Australia's kind of been pegged as a place where they haven't been that great at conserving animals, and there's been a lot of extinctions, and so this just shows that it can be redone.
Yeah, if there's possibilities. Yeah, I love those stories. I really do. I just think that we have such a great resource when we allow it to resource itself.
Mm-hmm.
So my story is about London and the crime rate. The crime rate is down to the lowest number in more than a decade, an 11% drop from 2024, and they recorded 97 homicides.
For an entire year in London. I don't know how big London is, but it's big.
97. And the article actually says that despite the growing population, the police reported that the homicide rate per capita is now the lowest on record at 1.1 per 100,000 residents, which is clearly well below rates like New York and Berlin and Paris. And the police chief commissioner credited the decline to the increase in arrests and new technology that they have, like live facial recognition, and they've also targeted action against gangs and violent offenders. And it also shows that statistics are falling across England and Wales to the lowest level also since 2003. And they're reducing youth violence. They've had the fewest victims under 25 this century and a 73% drop in teenage homicide since 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And, I thought at a time where I handed you the statistics the other day, in our world, we looked up, I looked up what had been going on. It was, day 11?
Mm-hmm.
It was January 11th. So in 11 days in the United States, and there had been almost 100 homicides.
Well, there had been mass shootings. There were 10
killings.
10 or 12 mass shootings in that time period. And I think 15 or 20 people that were killed and another 30 plus that were injured in those. And, you do that for the rest of the month and we're caught up with London.
Yeah. So back to the good news. The good news is that it's possible, that it is possible. And kudos to London, So that's our good news story. Things are looking up for animals and people. There you go. All right. So we are going to come back and we are going to discuss the energetic flow of oneness with the queen of energy flow, Reverend Dr. Sherry Greer. So you don't want to miss it. Come right back here to New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hepperlin Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you. New Thought Media Network proudly presents the Science of Mind Saturday Conversations. Learn more about the Science of Mind philosophy, faith, and way of life. Join our team of experts for a weekly deep dive discussion. Come study the science of mind, chapter by chapter, and resources from the Science of Mind archives. Plan to join us every Saturday, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. Only on the New Thought Media Network.
And we're back. Welcome back. I'm Robin.
And I'm Gil, and this is Rockin' the Love.
And we are ready to rock the love right here, right now, with the Reverend Doctor. Reverend Doctor in the house, Sherry Greer.
Here she is. She is your local spiritual guide, teacher, coach, and everything else. She has an understanding that everything begins in mind and that life is shaped from the inside. She directs Ministry Creative Metamorphosis, which sounds fascinating. And all of that is nice, but she's genuinely a fun person who truly wants to share what she understands and to continue to learn more, to be able to share more of her understanding of spirituality. So welcome to the show today.
Thank you for having me. I'm back.
You're so funny.
It's like a bad penny.
Can't get rid of it.
Oh,
you know, Gil is like that little brother of mine.
That's so funny. I was thinking that right now. I was thinking you're like siblings from another life. When you two get together, that's what it sounds like all the time.
I know.
Oh my goodness!
There.
So what are you up to? I mean, we had a little chat the other day, and I was just really fascinated. So our theme today is about the energetic of oneness, and one of the things that came up was how you're talking about how if we're really going to take this idea of new thought spirituality seriously, we've got to understand how important energy is and how important the concepts from quantum physics, etc. That everything is affected by what happens over here, over there, that kind of thing, that things are connected in ways that you didn't learn in junior high.
And it's really interesting because I didn't really learn it in New Thought, in the beginning. All these years I've been taking classes, and people would talk about, everything is energy and we are one. And I would say all that because I know that's the truth, but I really didn't understand what that meant. Like, I would just be saying it, and in my mind, I'd be like, how does that work? And actually, for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been studying with someone, Reverend Cheryl Hawkins, and she really, we started with the first book we had, Your Creative Mind, and we did that like 3 or 4 times. She had the group of people that we worked with, and she would always, like, if you say something that was not true, just say not true, she would stop, and we would go over that. And after doing that for a long time, I said, well, you know what? I need to start really just being with this. And then things started happening in life. I started understanding what it meant. It hit me one day and it said, Sherry, when they say we are one, I would look at like you and me and how are we one? But everything is in consciousness, is in spirit. And when we understand that concept and get that concept, then things will you could understand them better. And that's the thing, because in metaphysics, They teach you how to do things to get things. If you affirm, you're going to affirm that parking space. Everybody talk about the parking space. And let me tell you, it works. So it's not like we just saying it. It really works. If you sit there and say it, but it happens. But in the mystical part of it, the oneness, the spirit, the consciousness, you don't have to do that work. What you have to do is get your energy in alignment and sync with your highest good. And how that's done is we don't focus on the White House and all the things that are happening in Washington. I'm not saying not to recognize that it's here, but we don't give that energy if it's really if it's gonna make us feel low, if we get angry, if we get upset. That's not where we want to focus our energy. And when it happened, and when it first happened, people were like, "Whoa, my God, this and that and the other, blah blah blah." And I said, I'm not buying it all that, because if I'm learning this philosophy and I know that this philosophy works, then I know I can't buy into that. I have to stay over here and hold the light and know the truth. And for me, there is a paradigm shift happening. It is a paradigm shift happening right now. And what I know is everything is for good. So we're just in the part where all the roots are being pulled up.
Mm-hmm.
We in this country, in this world, have been praying for peace forever.
Mm-hmm.
Have been praying for peace forever. And you know what? When you pray, ask, or whatever, if you're not clear on how it's supposed to look when it comes, guess what? It comes in chaos. It comes whatever way it comes. And then we go like, whoa, that's not what I wanted. You know, like Jesus said, I came 3 times and you knew me not, because it wasn't looking like I thought it was supposed to look. But what I really believe is because the energy, the energy is always the energy, but the people in the world are changing. Consciousness is changing. It's not so much just rhetoric, talk and stuff. It's really like we talk. I think about the young people always talking about being woke, being woke. That's a new thing. But what they're saying is that spiritual part of us to understand what's really happening in life. And I'm not gonna keep talking because I was told to not talk more than 3 minutes. So go ahead. Because I could go on this all day, every day. I love this stuff.
Well, I think even you defining that term woke, that is what makes that such a flashpoint for others, because they know if people realize their spiritual connection, everything changes, and all the power drains away from those who have taken it rather than received it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's just really, really fascinating. Just recently, you know, we titled our year.
It's
already done. It's already done. Yeah, I know.
Already done.
Exactly.
And realizing,
true.
and thinking about that, it's like, I've got to hold the space. I've got to feel the feeling of what is true, to allow it to manifest visibly in front of my face, you know? And if all I'm doing is looking at the stuff that's bothering me, then I'm just creating more possibility for that to manifest, because that's the energy I'm holding.
I tell my clients these days, and this is something I drown in everyone's head, is you have to talk to yourself. Talk to spirit. Have that conversation. Don't think that it's you and it. It's like, what is it mine to do? Even every morning waking up, what is my intention? Okay, my intention is to, for me, it's always something about knowing God more. It's not about getting a new car, moving to the house, it's never that anymore. It used to be that all the time. But the part of me is like knowing that if I just can get to know God more, all that will come, because it's already here. We already have it. And so it's just me having to, as I would say, sink into whatever that is, and add my frequency at a place to know that it's mine, it's here. And so there really isn't anything to do. As we talk about doing things all the time. Of course, they say treat and move your feet, and that's true. You have to do something, but what I mean is we don't have to. It doesn't have to be the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
We don't go out doing, then waiting to see what we're supposed to do.
Well,
It's like,
it's that there's not action items really. I mean, the first action item is remember the truth of
yeah,
who you are. Remember
remembering,
one with the one,
yeah, remembering,
which brings,
remembering.
and that's where it's already done comes from, is that we're funny. We are funny as humans. We think that we're making a difference, and I mean we are, but we're not. In that, it's we don't. It's already done.
It's already done. It's already done, and I think we are here to learn the lessons and also experience life in that way. I tell you, it used to be a time where I was afraid, excuse me, afraid of what I would now say spiritual stuff, woo woo stuff, but I'm not anymore. It's like I can just rest in it and know that it is spirit, it is the universe here supporting me. And I feel, because I look at how children come here into this world and how people leave this world, it's the same thing. It's the same thing, whether we're coming or whether we're transitioning back to where we came from. And I think it's just a beautiful thing. And so that is because I'm beginning to understand life. Now, I'm not saying I'm ready to pack up and go anywhere. But what I'm saying is I'm not going to sit here and fear like I used to before when I was younger about, leaving this plane. I think it's beautiful. And it really happened for me with my sister when she was transitioning. And I tell you, I can't tell anybody, that was one of the most beautiful, magical times I've ever experienced.
Mm.
It really was. And I wouldn't take it back for anything. And thank you, Sister Eleanor, for allowing me to be there with you when you chose to do this. It's like it opened up so much for me, and really understanding um, the mystical side of life really opens up a lot. And it really honors the part of me that don't like to judge, because I really believe all of us are here for whatever reason we're here. And I was telling someone yesterday, I said, um, a lot of us are getting mad at the president or whatever. But if I believe this stuff, I really believe that someone had to be the person, right? And he could have been the person that said, send me, I'll go. I'll go. And then, even though it's not looking the way people think it's supposed to look, I really believe out of this things are going to be different. I really believe the government, or whatever kind of way we see it, or it's running now, it's going to be changed there, and it's going to be good. I think it's going to be good for everybody,
Yeah.
even countries and stuff. And I'm holding to that. I might be holding to it by myself, but I'm holding to that because I believe that there is good in the universe. I believe that good is going to come out of this.
Yeah.
I'm not one of the people think God is up in the sky pointing his finger down and you did this and you did that and that's going to happen to you because cross the line or whatever. There is no line. There is no line.
There is no line. Yeah.
No.
And so I want to get to your class, because you're going to be teaching a class about all of this, and I want to know more about the class and what people will learn and how, because it's all good to talk about and to know, but people want to know how they get there. What is the steps to really, besides waking up and remembering God, not that that's not a besides, but what does that mean? How do you break that down when somebody out there may not recognize God, period, or love, or the universe, or whatever you call it, by any name you call it. So tell us a little bit more about what we're going to learn in your class.
Yeah, it's so funny because there are so many things. I can't say if there's just one thing that we get it, right? Because we have been in a human environment for so long. And it's going to take some time to go through that and to understand what's real, what's not real. You know what I mean? Like, we think a lot of things are real, but are they really? And so one of the things that we'll be working on is shifting the consciousness. And that to me is a major one, because everything begins in our mind. And if we can't think different about life, our life, then we will not be able to evolve to where we want to be. And so through, of course, the spiritual principles, which we will practice. It's so funny when we had a class called Spiritual Principles and Practice. Well, we learn spiritual principles, but you need to practice them.
What? What? I can't, if I just recite them and pass the test, that will work.
You need to practice. I tell people you got to do the work. I don't like to use that word to work, but that's basically it. It feels like work sometimes, because I remember when I first came into the philosophy, right? I tell you, I thought I was learning a new language. I did not understand what they were talking about. And it took me a long time to really, and that's probably why it took me a way longer to understand what the oneness was, because it was totally different than when I was growing up and going to a different type of church who told me that there was this man up in the sky, or this person or entity or whatever up in the sky, taking check marks of what I did wrong or what I didn't do right, or going to hell and all this stuff. And that's why a lot of people don't like the word God. And I try to not use it as much anymore, because I even had in my mind this image every time I use that word, an image of this person, man, or whatever. Until I stopped using it, I just started writing God. I started using presence, holiness, whatever, until I got to a point and I could relax in that word and not be affected by it. Mm-hmm. So, so it's also about learning that God is source, that God is it. It is it in life. It is it. And also we're going to be talking about the creative process, which I love. I think that is one of the most fascinating things to know, how that it begins in mind, and that the universe says yes. And to whatever you put in your mind. Mm-hmm. If I'm smart and I'm this, that, the other, then hey, that's what I'm going to get. And if I talk not so good about myself and wonder why I'm walking around all depressed, because I'm feeding that. Mm-hmm. I'm feeding that. And that's what we talk about, being in vibrations up and really wanting to express in the world how important it is. People are always saying my vibe, check that vibe, check the energy, how important that really is.
Right.
How important that really is. It's a cute little term or whatever, but it is important. Also, we talk about intentional living. When we get up and not just say we're going to do something, it's like, okay, what is my intention for today? Heck, what is my intention for the year? We could go like that, because that way we would know every day we get up, okay, are we moving toward that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we moving towards that? And so it's like doing these constant things for our life. I've been in this philosophy for 30-something years, and it took me this long to really start getting it. So it's not like, I was getting it alone, but to get here where I am now, totally different. We will also be, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's a journey. It's a journey. Mm-hmm. And I just want to emphasize for people, it's not, because sometimes it's overwhelming. It can be overwhelming. And so what I think one of the things that this class will do, and just total disclaimer, next week we're going to be talking about another class that starts on the same night that is happening as well. And
just let me say this. I love that class. Yeah. That class is intertwined with the teaching of this.
So both classes, the other class is the Essential Earnest, and this class, both classes are classes. If you're a Centers for Spiritual Living person, they're both accredited classes. But the thing I was going to say about them is that both classes, I break it down in those bite-sized pieces and gives you the opportunity to practice. Just having a 5-week, 10-week period to really practice with other people, so you're supported, and so you can really live into it. Because what you're saying is absolutely true. We all come from different places and religions and things. And, I think on some level, everybody, when they get here, is a little surprised or awestricken or whatever. I mean, I wasn't, when I came into Centers for Spiritual Living, it wasn't so much what they were saying, but my teacher was Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith.
Mm.
And it wasn't so much what he was saying, but it was how fast he was saying it. And like he'd be zooming through a concept, and like you'd be sitting there thinking about it, and he was onto the third one, something else. And so we tend to talk fast, and we tend to talk as if everybody knows it. But I mean, this is the beauty of taking a class like this, is that you can ask questions, you can break it down, you can make it practical for yourself. So
Yeah.
I wanted to encourage that to anyone listening or thinking about it.
I just want to say this. When you said Reverend Michael Beckwith, I tell people this story all the time. When I came into this philosophy, everybody was like, oh, Reverend Michael Beckwith, oh, Reverend Michael. And I'd be like, what is he talking about? Because I wasn't there. And see what I'm saying? I'm talking about the metaphysical side. He was so into the mystical stuff. And he was always spilling, and he was talking fast, and he was animated. And I was like, I don't understand what people talk. What is he doing?
Yeah.
And I tell you, now that I understand. I love this man. I love this man.
But he is the exact point of what you're talking about. Because I used to, like, whenever I bring people to Agape, I'd be like, oh God, okay. And I'd be so nervous because I know that people be like, what the hell?
Yes.
But you could not deny the energy. The energy in the room and the energy that he had. You're like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about, but I know I've got to hear more. I know I need to be there. Yeah. I know that people, I mean, you hear this story repeatedly there because people come back and they're not sure why. They just know that something was right, even though they don't understand it and they don't know how to get it. But they're like, okay, I need to be in this place.
He's so much more deeper, I feel, than what we learn initially. And I guess we have to take it step by step. Mm-hmm. But he's like way out there. And I feel like, and that's why I can see my own growth in myself, because I understand him. And now I look at him on Sundays and I just like, oh, I gotta have that, because it keeps me, I guess, on the path, on trail of learning this stuff. And then I'm laughing at myself. I said, because I didn't know what he was saying. Because, of course, remember, just the basic stuff was a new language to me. Mm-hmm. And then you get this man who's talking way out there. And I understand what he was talking about. But everybody loved him. And his energy, he was entertaining. I can tell you that. He was really entertaining.
But it's true. When I met Gil, like, he comes from United Methodist, and we were having a conversation. And I was in prac studies, and I was like, he said something about, well, that's just wrong. And I was like, there is no right and wrong. And I mean, even just those concepts, I'm like, there is no right and wrong. And he was like, what? He thought but the same thing. He was like intrigued, but he thought, oh, this poor girl, she needs to be saved, because the concepts, even just those bite-sized pieces, you go, what are you talking about? We're all one.
But he is so deep. I can say that. It's just like
the thing to remember is that we're all moving at whatever pace we're moving at. Mm-hmm. And there's the Reverend Michaels of the world who seem to have started with a rocket booster, and just, and there are other people who have been going very slowly and steadily, and those who have found it late in life and taken off. And it doesn't matter. What matters is that we, in our own space, continue to grow. Right? And continue to be open, continue to be, I love that Sinners has chosen open at the top for this year's general theme because, yes, it's something Ernest said, but more importantly, it's the concept that we're not closed in, that we can allow stuff in, and symbolically I can allow new ideas into my head, because I'm open top. And I think where we get in trouble is when somebody gets into a place and says, no, this is how it is. That's it. There's no other way to see this.
I really believe that if we really allow ourselves to, what I would just say, get comfortable with our consciousness, get comfortable in uh, um, being open to see things other ways, and believing in life. I mean, if you look at the plants and how they grow, you put water, you look at life, how it comes. You look at the animals have their life. We wouldn't have a lot of fear if we kept our mind focused on all the beautiful things that are really happening in life, because we will begin to see that there is something more than what we see with our eyes or what we think we see. Because who our food, our food from the plants and stuff is plentiful. It's continually growing, and I think about how the universe has supplied us with everything that we need, and and continue supplying us. But of course, people on Earth have, we've um, damaged some stuff. So now we're in the process of thinking we have to kind of catch up and change it, right? And when I mean damage some stuff, I mean, like, I remember growing up and there was all these plum trees, all natural fruits and stuff everywhere. Or they have black berries in the backyard, blackberries. Yeah, the blackberries that grow on the bushes, the vines and stuff, and the blueberries, the raspberries, not blueberries, the raspberries. And now you can't find them basically anywhere. You can't find them anywhere. Like in Oakland, they were just everywhere. We just go eat them. And I don't know where they came from. I don't know, but I know as time goes on, we have, changed stuff. And so now we're trying to put it back in there so we can have these things. Yeah. But it's okay. Like you said, it's okay. But I know that we were given these things already. We were already given. It was however the universe unfolds. I don't even know, but I just know when I think about it, it is good. It feels good. It makes me smile. Sometimes I even feel that little something inside that that I wish I could feel all the time. Mm-hmm. That I wish I could feel all the time, because it keeps me in an attitude of gratitude, and knowing that everything that happens in life, I'm either blessed by it or I learn by it. So for me, I can find something good in all things. And I tend to want to be that way. And so it also goes to me making a personal commitment to myself. Mm-hmm. Making a personal commitment that I will make sure I do what is necessary to feed my soul and to do what I have come to this plane to do, and to be that vessel, and doing that. Because not only do I know there is good for me in my life, I know that we are all here and can give to others. We are all here to give to others. So I'm excited about the class. I am.
So it's 5 weeks.
6 weeks.
6 weeks. 6 weeks. And how much is it?
Actually, today is the 14th. Tomorrow, we extended the early bird to tomorrow. It was the 8th, and then we extended it to tomorrow. And it's $195. Okay. But it's $225 after tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. $225 after tomorrow. And, I really believe come with an open mind, an open heart, willing to be open, just willing to be open to what life is experience, because it's going to be we're all in this together, but we all, as they say, individualized expressions of the one. So we're definitely in here together, but there's going to be different journeys for us. We may be walking this together, but they're going to be different experiences that we're all on. And the idea is that we get to talk about it. We get to share what that is. We can get to, what I hope is to see the good, even if it doesn't feel good. So what is spirit saying to me? That's my favorite thing. What is it saying?
Well, what does this mean? What is it?
Yeah.
What's it here to tell me?
Yeah.
I mean, I totally agree with that. I think I've talked about it on this show before, but last year my personal theme or personal intention was that it was going to be the best year ever. So even when those things happened, like we had a car accident or I was in the hospital or I was like, okay, all right. So what part of that is this, and I found it, I mean, it like, for example, with our car accident, we got chiropractic care afterwards, which we wouldn't have gotten just because of insurance money, time. It wouldn't have been the priority. And we still have it. We're still seeing them under the car accident thing. And, but what it's done is really, it's been a blessing and a benefit to remember what it does for us, first of all, but to have that happen every week or 2 weeks and really have our body be in alignment, which creates a whole different energy in life, So like all of these things teach you something about, really, as you've said in different ways, getting to the true energy, vibration, essence of who you are.
Yes. Yes. And if you look in your life and you don't have what you want, then you know where you vibrate at. And if you're sad, you have to know that your vibrations are low. You have to know that even if you're walking around sad. I remember, I think it was a teacher who told me that. She said, I was going through something and I was mad and I wanted to be there, right? She said, but you don't want to be there. You don't, you. And I'm like, well, how can I come out of it? I'm mad. She said, you don't want to be there because when you're there, that's where you're manifesting at. You're manifesting at that vibration and you want to manifest here. So that's another thing we have to look at. It's like, how do we let go?
Well, yeah, and also what is the truth? Because I mean, you said if you don't have what you want, what'd you say? If you don't have what
I said, if you don't have what you want, look at where your vibration is, where your frequency is.
And I would say too, also that it's possible if you don't have what you want, you don't really want it. So inquire within, like, is this really what I want? I say I want to be blah blah blah, and yet I keep I mean, for those things I've had on my to-do list for forever that don't go off, like, are they really mine to do? Do they need to be done because I haven't, you know what I mean? So I'm just saying it's a both and inquiry, I think.
Well, I think what you just said, it's like, do I really want this? Because what happens a lot of times is, what I believe is that if we really want something, and the idea is to focus on that with good, like seeing yourself doing it, whatever. And a lot of times what we do is, I want that, but in my mind, I'm constantly saying, oh, but that's going to take a lot. I'm going to have to pay this money to go to that class. Oh, all that stuff is what keeps you from moving forward with what you want.
Right.
And so the idea is to say, I want this, and be open at the top and know that it's already ours, that we already have it, and this is so true. It's a keep moving toward that what you want. Because if we focus on anything other than that, we could say, oh, I believe, but do you really believe it? Because if in that fire, as Ernest Holmes says in besides my text, I think it was, the fire in the belly, and he might have said that in the curriculum. But if we don't have that passion for what that is we really want, then it may take a little bit longer to get it, if at all.
Well, and again, do we really believe what we say, that God wants the highest and best for us, the good, all of those things? Do we believe that? Can we live into that, and can we live into the unknown of that?
Okay, so let's get real deep right here. I don't know how much time we
We
got.
got to get real deep real quick.
Okay, because you just said God wants the highest and best for us. Does God want the highest and best for us? God, we're the ones that have to want the highest and best for us, because God is spirit and everything is energy. And so it's so funny because I had someone tell me the other day that someone told them when they were saying, "Well, God didn't want me to do this." God, what is it? God don't, have any opinions. It's like it's spirit. If everything is spirit and everything is energy, it's like it does what you want. It says yes, right? It says yes. So if you are saying you want something, but in your mind or whatever, however you are negating that, then that's what you're going to get, because you have not owned it.
Right. But I would say, when you ask, does God really want that? Well, if I believe that we're one, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, if I'm believing all the things we say, if I'm living into that, then my decision is that my God, myself, want the highest and best.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so how fun is this, everybody?
I know.
You could do this for 6 weeks. And
Just the conversation to get deeper and to understand it.
And
Yes.
the thing is, there's no right and wrong about it. You can still leave and have different opinion, but you've heard a different perspective, and that's really what we're all trying to do here.
Thank you. I really believe that. I said, you know what? I have this thing to say to people: if you might be going down Telegraph, Reverend E said this, but you might be going down Telegraph, and I might be going down Broadway, but we still going to Berkeley. We're trying to get to Berkeley, right? It doesn't matter. Right. We're trying to get to Berkeley. So you're right, because I really feel that I know everything is energy. I believe that, but I also know that our consciousness makes a difference.
Right.
So if you don't believe it, it's like,
yeah.
But this has been so. I'm getting so excited for my class next week. Thank you.
So we're excited for your class too, and I'm actually excited that you, along with Reverend Dr. Sunshine Michelle Coleman and Reverend Gill, that everybody's teaching at the same time on the same night, because I think that's amazing energy force.
Energy, yes. I'm sad because I would have taken y'all class. I love that class.
So here's my people. If you're not in one of these classes on Thursday nights, you're going to be out there feeling the effects of it, and you're going to wish
yes.
So you have the information. You can contact Sherry at blessings@creativemetamorphosis.org.
Please do.
And thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. This is such a blessing. It's such a blessing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, we're excited for you, for the classes, for all of it. And thank you.
I'm grateful for you guys. I just love y'all. Y'all so cute.
All right. Well, everybody is a reflection of the one. So everybody take your cuteness and all your mysteriousness and your energy out into the world and rock the love this week. And we will see you next week. Bye.